40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and welcome to I'm 40% podcast.
Woo!
The queer.
I did the right one.
The queer Futurama review that nobody asked for, but now people demand it.
Yes.
With me, as always, is my co-host, Nick Sahoyah, my biological son, the fruit of my loins. Don't worry that he's the exact same age as me. It works in drag. He's my son, and I gave birth to him. It's Nick Sahoyah.
Okay, that was a really long explanation that I think most people already know all that.
I just want to make sure that
any time. We can't waste any time. I just want to make sure
people look at me and think, she's had kids.
We can't waste any time. We have an amazing guest, and spoiler alert, this is one of the best episodes of all time. So we have to get
it. It is one of the best episodes of all time. Okay, so
we gotta
our guest today is Tony Soto of the Tony Soto Show.
Hello.
Tony Soto. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much. Well, first of all, I did not know that it was in demand, and I did not know that we were pressed for time. So thanks for squeezing me in.
We're not pressed for time. Nick's just really building up this episode because this episode is basically every line in this episode is a brilliant comedy masterpiece.
I had to stop writing down lines because everyone was perfect. I almost just wrote down the whole teleplay.
I quote this episode so much and no one ever knows what I'm talking about. So I hope after this podcast episode, the information gets distributed and people can stop looking at me like I'm a Judy Jetson hooker.
Tony, you are so wonderful. Thank you for being on the show.
You.
Tony was one of my first friends that I made when I moved to LA because I was a big fan of her show, Learn the Words, Bitch, which I was just at on Monday night. What?
So what are your first friends?
Okay.
You moved to LA in your 30s and made your first friend. I'm proud of you.
It.
But you knew my comedy partner, Casey, prior to knowing
Yes, Casey has been on the show. Casey's a good friend of mine. We've actually written shows together, Casey and I, and that's sort of only
Casey Lai. We should say his last name, otherwise he'll be very upset.
Not only Casey, Solomon Giorgio, James Adomian, other past guests of the show, as I was moving here, they were like, you gotta see this girl, Tony Soto. She has the best shows, and turns out you do. And you just
LA comedy glitterati.
I'm the best drag queen you've never heard of. You know what I mean?
And you proved that at the pageant that you just did, Alaska's pageant competition, award competition.
Strong second place. Yes,
very
absolutely.
strong second place.
I'm sure if you're I'm a star maker. I'm not a star beer. You know what I mean? Like I've been surrounded by a bunch of friends who have gotten very successful, and it's been nice watching it. You know what I mean? But me, I'm still in the same studio apartment going on my 9th year of living in Los Angeles. Thank you. I'm a survivor.
But there's something to be said for second place. Because, like, when Alaska got second place, I think Alaska showed, winning ain't everything. Because there were many, many moments after season 5 where I was like, I may have won the crown, but look at Alaska. She's kind of got it all figured out, doesn't she?
I mean, the thing is like when you're in that frame of mind, because I did do a lot of work and I feel like my package was good. So, you already have the money spent. You already have the money spent. You know what I mean? Like in your head, you're like, I'm a shoo-in. But, if you can't get the 10 grand, you want to be the one who they say was robbed. And
of course. That's that. Like, of course, the money's nice, but the ultimate storyline is being robbed because then no one can ever be mad at you for winning.
Yeah.
People get mad at people for winning. They're like, how dare you win?
Right. But I've been a drag queen for over 20 years and I've never competed in anything. So I was like, and I also host a amateur drag competition. So in West Hollywood. So I kind of want to be like,
Stash We Hub.
Well, look, Auntie can do it too. So just so you know.
I think that's really good. I think, and that's a big competition. And I think, showing to the people who compete for you that you also, see merit in the competitive arts, I think that's respect.
Well, I just had to make it fit me because, I'm a talker. I'm not a twirler. Like, people don't come to my shows to watch me lip sync. You know what I mean? I do it because we're supposed to, but I'm known for just talking on a microphone. That's what I'm here for.
Well, are you ready to talk about this episode?
First of all, love this episode.
But you're not a Futurama girl, right? Have you watched it before?
I'm not a Futurama girl, but I just don't like to feel dumb when watching things. And I feel like there's a lot of jokes within Futurama that you have to be engaged in the nerd arts in order to it. And I'm a soap opera girl. You know what I mean? Like, that's my zhuzh. So it's like, but I've watched a lot of episodes and I've revisited this episode, and this is a great episode.
Yeah,
Nick,
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Before we start, is there any news?
No.
Oh,
I
good.
just want to talk about this episode.
I finally remember that we do a news segment.
No, I'm the one who says if there's a news segment, you'll know. I'll come to you with the news. You won't come to me with the news.
I was trying to be a good co-host.
I love watching the kinks get worked out. How long have you done this show? It looks great.
And they don't get worked out. We leave all of this in.
We've only had 3
seasons.
This is
a passion project, so you're welcome.
This is the 3rd season, but it's been about 5 years, I think, since we started this podcast. Anywho.
Okay. So this
episode, War is the H word.
This episode is called War is the H word. And as we've already said, I think it's fitting. They started the season with their worst episode because they knew they had their best episode for the second episode. It was kind of like a soft opening for season 3.
Speaking of soft openings, Tony.
Woo!
Speaking of soft openings, there's no cold open. We go right into the opening credits.
I love it. I'm in. No, I'm buckled in, honey. I'm in my kneeling chair. I'm on my knees. So
I had one of those at my old office, and I really liked it. Maybe I'll get a new one.
I don't recommend it if you shave your legs in any way because it immediately ingrown hairs on your legs.
I haven't shaved my legs since college.
Oh, all right, just me then.
But he used to shave his legs daily.
Every day.
It's kind of weird.
It's just like if you're gonna shave, like
were
why?
You a swimmer?
No,
in a way, baby.
He had
Swimming in the
Peter
fellas.
Pan complex. At 18, who develops Peter Pan complex while they're still a twink?
The Chiron says, touch eyeballs to screen for cheap laser surgery. This is a great Chiron. It's very funny, but it doesn't really have much to do with the future, so I only give it 4 out of 5 Chirons. How many Chirons would you rate this, Tony, out of a possible 5?
The Chiron is...
the little words at the bottom of the screen when the episode starts.
And what were they again?
It was a joke about cheap laser surgery if you put your eyeballs on the screen. Did you like it?
I did see that. I mean, it's cute. Listen, that's the thing too. Don't start me off with reading the moment you start a cartoon. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, and that's what Matt likes to do is make you read a lot. I did read the cashier only has $10 in their bank account or whatever.
Yeah, it's very funny. Oh, there's a lot of good background jokes with a lot of the visuals in this. I'm gonna give it a 3. 3 out of 5 Chirons.
3 out of 5.
Jinkx.
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well because I liked this Chiron. So we start at a futuristic 7-Eleven. And
they're shopping for gum.
And of course, all the gum has funny names. There's Hubble Bubble, and there's other names.
Nitro Glisser gum or something. I can't remember.
Glisser gum. And then Fry selects Big Pink. Big
it's
Pink.
The only gum with the breath freshening power of ham.
And it pinkens your teeth while you chew. It's like they do this little plug for Big Pink. And then, okay, so the person in front of them is buying what? All porno mags and cigarettes and liquor.
He gets a military discount.
He gets a military discount. And so Fry, on his like 35-cent gum, is insisting on a military discount, but they're not in the military.
It's a 5% military discount. So naturally, their solution is to go enlist in the army.
Well, I mean, my favorite line there was when Bender's like, "This is the kind of discrimination I hate, the kind that affects me." Yeah, I'm like, isn't that just so where we are right now in life?
Oh yeah, that should be on every white Republican's T-shirt.
The line that follows it is also very funny. The 7-Eleven clerk, who by the way is in like a glass box, like
instead of everything.
I love this
LA, New York.
Of the bulletproof glass box, and I wish they kept it. It's like the only time we see this. They don't use it ever again, and I think there should be so many more people in glass boxes.
The convenience store man says, "Our policy is, if for any reason you're not completely satisfied, I hate you."
I hate you, absolutely. I live
kicks
by
them
that.
out of the store.
That's literally my customer service motto.
I used to be very much that customer service when I worked at Buffalo Exchange, but they didn't let me get away with it as much at H&M.
That's how I had to stop bartending. That's how I knew I had to stop bartending. I was like, ooh, I'm just mean to him.
The only time I worked retail was the Gap, and the Gap is like known for their over-the-top friendly customer service. And when I would work the cash wrap, I'd have to make small talk about the clothes. And the only thing I ever knew to do was reach out and touch the shirt and go, "It's so soft," because that was just like my go-to. It was like Jennifer Coolidge with the cookies and that Hillary Duff Cinderella. They're so moist.
I recently watched Cinderella Story as part of the Jennifer Coolidge Renaissance, and that movie holds up great. That movie's really good with Hillary Duff.
Okay.
Chad Michael Murray. But you know what's fucking infuriating about it? What? That whole movie is about a drought, and at the end of the movie, when the drought ends, a Hillary Duff starts playing, and it's not "Let the Rain Fall Down." It's a different Hillary Duff song, and it made me so mad.
That
they needed to promote the B-side.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so they go enlist in the military, and they're like, "So what's to stop us from enlisting in this? Going and buying a pack of gum and then dropping out of the military?" And he says, "Absolutely nothing." And they sign, "Unless war were declared."
War declared.
And then a siren goes off seconds later, and they go, "What's that?" And he goes, "War were declared."
War were declared.
So things are progressing very rapidly. Fry and Bender are in the army now.
They're reporting to Zap Brannigan's ship to be transported to the enemy planet, which they know nothing about at this point. There's a sign that says "Big War tomorrow, 9 p.m. till ?" Like it's a party.
I love that Leela has one of my favorite lines. "I'm enlisting too. I'm here to enlist. My friends tend to die if I'm not there to save them."
Relatable.
That is how I feel at all times. I feel like I'm a rickety wagon, but I'm carrying all the cargo.
And Leela cannot enlist because she's a woman.
I'd be the girl at home picking up baseball. You know what I mean? I'd be in the new baseball.
Ooh, you'll be in
League
of Their Own.
Yeah, I'd be.
Do you think that's happening? There's a side. There's a side story in this episode about a League of Their Own.
Well, although this is a moment where you find that women can't cut a break. Even in the future.
In the future, they're still fighting this battle. All these battles are cyclical.
It's because of Zap Brannigan, and he tells this monologue, which it's one of those jokes, if you're not paying attention, it just sounds like the army is sexist. But if you're paying attention, you realize it's not the army. It's just that Zap Brannigan is in charge of the army, and he's sexist.
Yeah, doesn't he say, like, "Not while I'm in office," or whatever?
Yeah. He goes, "There was a time when I fought along female soldiers, but after a series of unfortunate calamities caused by harmless pinching and catcalling. Women are no longer allowed to enlist. Not while I'm in charge. Like, it's so good. And I hate the character of Zap Brannigan. But I love that in this, he, like, this is when he really becomes the symbol of all male douchiness.
Yeah, for sure. But we also make him question himself too, which is
I love that coming up.
Pretty amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a couple great.
I'm glad.
There's a couple great lines in here. We've got the professor saying, "If you kill anyone in battle, be sure to eat their heart, so you gain their courage, their tasty, nutritious courage."
Their rich, meaty courage. So we learn now that the professor. I mean, I think we're confirmed now that the professor practices light cannibalism. It's like it's been confirmed at this moment.
I mean, how do you stay fresh? You know what I mean? If not to eat a heart or two.
You have to eat a heart or two.
They all load onto Zap's ship and they fly off. Zap addresses the recruits. And we've got a series of perfect jokes here. Richard Nixon joins. He's also funny. And he reveals that we will be attacking the planet of Spheron 1. We know nothing of their language, their history, or what they look like, but they stand for everything you don't stand for. That's and right. They said you look like dorks.
Dork.
Yeah. And I love Bender.
They look like dorks.
And Fry's like holding him back. It's really good.
But you look like dorks.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, but isn't that like the whole thing? It's like, they took the time to ask the question, who is our enemy? And he's like, that's a great question. We don't have a clue.
Is it this episode? It might be later on, but Zap has the line of, some of you will die for your planet.
Yeah.
Some of you will be pressed through a fine mesh screen for your planet. Those will be the luckiest of you. Oh, it's like, what is their tactic? Yeah. I mean, we learn in future episodes that Zap always like falls ass backwards into winning the battles. Like, he is a highly decorated officer, but he's not a good officer. He wins the battles because he's so frustrating.
We get a funny training montage. They're learning to like make tents and clean their guns and use a lightsaber. And it ends with them running through an obstacle course. And everyone is beaten by the new recruit, who introduces themselves as Lee Lemon, sir.
Lee Lemon, sir.
And this person has a blue beard, a purple beard, and a big sunglass that seems to be only covering one eye.
One eye.
So we don't know who this is, but we'll find out later, I guess.
We know who this is.
No, I want to go in order. I don't want to spoil it for the people. What I've learned on my Degrassi podcast, which you can go subscribe to, All About Degrassi, is sometimes people listen to these recap podcasts and they haven't watched the episode first, which I find wild, but I guess people do it.
Wild.
I mean, how old is this episode?
Huh?
What?
How old is this episode? When was this?
Oh, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah, they should know.
I think it's about 20 years old, because we're in 2023. Damn. This would be roughly 2003. Yeah.
So,
and obviously all of this is critiquing the war on terror, is it not? Very topical for the time.
Absolutely. So, Lee Lemon introduces himself, and immediately Zap is having strange feelings towards Lee Lemon. And does he say, is this where he brings up how soft his hands are?
Yeah, he says, what kind of lotion do you use? And then
pert and popular, sir.
So Zap says, go throw out my old lotion and get me pert and popular. And Zap says, what shall I do with your jergens, sir?
Put it on some dry... What does he say?
Go straight it on some homeless people with dry elbows, is what he says.
Just terrible. Okay, so then we're in the mess hall, right?
Yeah, we're in the mess hall. Nixon is scheming with Zap, but we quickly cut over to Lee Lemon, who's eating his food. And Bender, Fry, and an unnamed Southern recruit come and join him for lunch.
Obviously, Forrest Gump reference.
Why?
Why is it? I guess it's kind of a war. I guess every war movie has like the hillbilly
chewing some straw.
In the similar trope of talking about their ladies who are waiting back home.
For college money, you know.
They're for college money for sure. Or for gum discounts in this case.
Or for gum. Okay.
But Lee really fits in well, you know, like talking about being sweaty, stinky, farty guys.
Yep.
You know?
Honestly, really good drag king performance. Like, not that we know the gender of this character, this mystery character. But yeah, this is like a pretty fierce drag king. Landon Sider, if you're listening, you should do a Lee Lemon.
Oh my God,
look.
I would go
Wouldn't that
nuts
be great?
for a Lee Lemon look.
Landon, I'm calling upon you to do this for us.
I love...
Everybody message Landon Sider until he does Lee Lemon. Also, Landon, come on the show.
How does the conversation go when Lee is like, so do you have any girls back home? And Fry says, well, there is this, I do kind of have a crush on this woman I work with. This
one girl. Leela says, Lee Lemon says, well, what kind of girl is she? Blonde, Chinese, Cyclops?
And Fry very nonchalantly goes, Cyclops. And then Lee says, aw, she sounds sweet. But sweet girls aren't for you, huh, Lee? You hard fighting, hard farting.
It's just all so perfect. I have no notes. It's the funniest episode.
Stop. You flatter me too much. So soon
Zap
we get
comes
into
up
battle.
And he's hitting on Lee again. And it's only interrupted by an alarm saying that they are now needed to report for duty because they're orbiting Spheron 1.
Okay.
Oh, right.
And Nixon says, this is it. This is the moment we've been training for since all day yesterday afternoon or whatever. It's a very funny line.
And then Zap says something like, the key to winning a battle is the element of surprise. Surprise! And they drop. They just literally
fall
drop
like
their
15
troops
feet into the dirt
onto the planet, and a bunch of weird pink bouncing balls.
Yes,
come at
we finally
them.
see the enemy. It's these bouncing balls.
Now,
what did you think of the balls, Tony?
First of all, I love anywhere there's a constant dodgeball sound effect going through something, you know. It really takes me back to PE days when people were aggressively chucking those at me. So, 5 stars.
There is something very comforting about that rubber ball bouncing sound. Even though I guess my dodgeballs were Nerf. But I did like playing kickball.
You didn't have the red ones?
You didn't have the red ones that like had like the little lines in them?
No, not until high school, and I don't remember really playing dodgeball in high school.
I think it was more of a middle school thing, yeah. I was terrible at sports, but I was
school,
weirdly good at dodgeball. I would usually win.
In middle school, I went to an arts middle school. We didn't have any balls.
You went to an arts middle school?
Yeah, we didn't have any
balls. Tell me you grew up in Portland without telling me you grew up in Portland.
I went to an arts middle school where instead of PE, they taught dance class.
Oh, well, we used to have a country line dancing segment in our PE class, but we're from the Midwest. So.
No, we had to do square dancing, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Oh, you did? Is it everywhere? Is it like, well, good.
Unfortunately,
everyone should know how to do a boot scoot and a boogie.
I'll give you the boot scoop for free, but you're gonna have to pay extra for the boogie.
This battle's pretty funny. Fry accidentally shoots into the air and spooks Zap Brannigan's horse. And
the winding
Zap
of
says,
their guns.
Oh yeah, the little Jack in the Box sound.
It's like that's what we should put on all the semi-automatic assault rifles. You should have to wind it up for
no, fuck that. Put it on all guns. You have to, and it has to be a ridiculous song, and it can't be pre-wound up.
It has to be like a bad Village People song, and you have to hear the whole thing. And those songs are like 5 minutes.
It's like, it's like, we are family, but just as like a little, you gotta like get through the whole song without
try and look
dancing,
tough like that, you little fucking Nazi.
And you still want to shoot the person. Okay.
Tony, I think you solved some problems. When are you going to run for city council?
I always say if more people listen to me, this world would be better.
Get up there with Maybe a Girl. We need more drag queens in city council.
If only there were just one person in charge and everyone had to do what that person said.
Anyway, some other funny stuff. Bender's taking stuff from the soldier who's dying. He's like, give me this watch.
I think your son would want those boots too.
I mean, honestly, that's one of those like dark moments that I appreciate because I'm a big fan of King of the Hill, which is kind of a dark show.
Yeah, that's a funny
like
show.
One of those moments because it's like a soldier after he was pummeled by a bunch of balls. It's like, my son, get my son this. He's dying. And Bender is so awesome that he's just like, yeah, no, I'm going to fucking loot this guy for sure.
Bender's terrible, but we know this about Bender. Fry, we're learning just the extent of Fry's cowardice.
Oh, yeah.
Lee is kicking ass and taking names. Country Bumpkin, I think, is having a hard time. Later, though, they are being overwhelmed by the balls, and Country Bumpkin says, Fry, cover us, buddy. You're the only one who's got a winded up positron. And Fry uses his gun to shoot a hole to shoot a hole into the ground that he jumps into to hide.
I mean, same. You know
luck,
what
y'all.
I mean? I'm there under duress anyway. I wanted a fucking pack of gum for 32 cents.
The balls
they
send
have a
over
bomb
a bomb. They have a bomb ball, which is of the same texture as them. That would be like if we made our bombs out of like fleshy material. I guess C4 is kind of fleshy, right?
Ooh, it's pretty fleshy. It's the
I mean,
closest
it
to
was like
flesh.
there were some thumbtacks in there at least. I mean, Bender got kind of fucked up.
What if, like, our cartoon round balls that we know in all cartoons and media tropes, what if those were, like, flesh-colored and matte, like human skin? Anyway,
so Bender, he saves the day. He puts his body over the bomb ball before it goes off, and he saves everyone. But he's all like blown out.
And he says, if they put me on a stamp, tell them to use young Bender.
So they get taken to medical and we get like a MASH parody. Has anyone ever watched MASH?
MASH used to be the show, when it turned on, that's when I would turn my TV off as a kid. Because
exactly.
the depressing
color was
song
too
would come
boring.
on.
The color, it's all
God.
brown and green.
It was too earth tony for me at the time. It was like Cheers. Like as a grown up now,
I would
can
so much rather
appreciate
watch Cheers, though,
because
yeah.
Cheers is one of the best written shows and was so funny. But as a kid, it was just a brown bar, and a bunch of old people talking to each other.
But then I like Cheers as an adult as well. I liked it as a kid just because I liked Screaming Norm at the television. But and I like
Norm has a real problem, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty
and
dark.
I really
We were all like, "Hey, rooting for the alcoholic for years."
And I loved BB New Earth. I didn't care that all her jokes went over my head. I just liked watching her as a kid. I have thought about like going back and trying to watch MASH now as an adult, and I'm like, no, I don't want to watch a TV show about war.
It's a lot of things that I'm not interested in.
Yeah,
the
it's
military.
like that Hogan's Hero. Like, why would I rewatch that? Like,
I'll watch show after show about dystopian futures, but wars that actually happened? No. No, ma'am. Okay.
So is this surge? Oh, wait. Well, first of all, there's an amazing line over the loudspeaker where he says, all personnel report to operating tent 4. Repeat 4. I mean 5. Repeat 4.
I love that.
Just
That's
the most
so good.
confusing it could possibly be.
From this point forward, like every line is quotable for the rest of the episode. But what I love that Zoidberg is one of the doctors. I don't know if that means Zoidberg is on call for the military, or if because Zoidberg's a particularly decorated officer, or if he enlisted, but he's there.
What is it? Are you here to operate? He's like, oh no, I got to do surgery first. What's the
first
joke?
I have to do surgery. Yeah, he's just doing bits. I think it's very funny when he's operating and he says scalpel, blood bucket, priest, next patient.
Next patient.
Like blood
wow,
bucket.
So leave some for the enemy to kill. Yeah. And so we've got...
Is the surgery robot, is he Alan Alda?
Is it him legit? Because it does sound like
No, I think it's someone doing an impression of him.
But I do like the fact that he has a switch that he can turn on and off himself.
For irreverent and
maudlin.
And I love when he's switching back and forth and he's like, he makes a joke and then he goes, click, this isn't a war, it's a murder. Click, this isn't a war, it's a moiter. So good. I love the alien nurse.
Oh yeah, she's pretty great.
Oh yeah,
she's like a squid lady.
He's got more credentials than you, or more whatever. What was it, jellyfish?
She's like a jellyfish lady. I feel like, is she the same type of creature who did the gangster rap in the Miss Universe pageant?
So she's like Miss Neptune, or
she's Neptune or something. Yeah.
Something like no, Neptune is Elzar. She must be Miss Blobbity Blob Blob.
Fry is being reprimanded for his cowardice, and he's being punished. And Zap says, what's the most humiliating job in the world? And Kif says, being your assistant.
No, it's being your assistant. Oh my gosh. Knowing that there was a Kif line, knowing that there was a Kif line coming up just reminded me, this is the episode. Is this the episode where he says sexlexia?
They do say sexlexia.
Sexlexia.
I suffer from a very sensual learning disability. What do I call it, Kif? Sexlexia.
Okay. Tony, can I say...
He also has a horse named Felicity. Did we even mention that?
Really funny stuff. Calm down, boy. Tony, I will say what I was noticing as I was watching this episode, and I've never thought of this before, but now I can't unsee it. Kif and Zap is very much you and Maxwell Esposito. Maxwell is, of course, Kif.
I mean, I love that because she would hate that. You know what I
mean? Maxwell is quite a bit sexier than Kif, so sorry, Maxwell. But some people find Kif sexy.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the more eligible bachelors on planet Amazon.
Spoilers.
Sorry. Fry becomes Kif's assistant, and we find out that Kif is a very sadistic boss.
Well, he's got a lot of pent up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
well, obviously.
I think he's just using Fry to work through his trauma. Fry's an idiot, so I think
Fry's
sometimes...
an idiot, and Fry does a pretty good job. You know, he keeps his spirit up. I like the joke of Nixon singing. What is Nixon?
I can't remember what he's singing.
Song.
But then, Fry is singing "Walking on Sunshine," as he often does.
Walking on Sunshine. And he's having a good time singing Walking on Sunshine.
Honestly, I think Fry would be well served by one of these very simple task-based jobs. I think it would be maybe good for his skill set.
We learn throughout the series that Fry has many, many hidden skills. But okay, so Sergeant Lee Lemon comes in to shower, but Zap's in there, so of course this is a sticky situation. Zap opens up his shower and comes out fully nude.
Full Monty, baby. Letting him know what he's got.
Shouldn't you put a towel on? And he runs off screen and then comes back and it's wrapped around his hair.
Really good.
And he's rubbing the lotion.
He's got the new Pert and Popular, and he's rubbing it on. And if I get too much lotion on me, can I rub the rest on you or something?
We did skip one scene where we see Bender rebuilt, and he is now a war hero. So they've promoted him to lieutenant. And he's part of this big secret peace talk mission. Oh, right.
That's a big moment.
Yeah, and he's going to go speak with the brain balls. They've got a lot of brains and a lot of chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
Perfect joke. And he will be joined by war criminal Henry Kissinger, which is pretty fun.
So, from this point forward, everything in reference to the balls is a ball joke.
We get hard into the ball jokes.
So much ball sack.
Ball jokes that they couldn't have made if they were talking about actual ball sacks. They couldn't have said ball sack on air if they were talking about scrotums. No, I'm sure it would have gotten shut down. But, I mean, maybe today you could. But back then, I'm sure this was their way of getting to say all these things because they put it in the context of the enemy as a bouncing ball. Yeah. So,
bouncing back to where we were, Zap is sexually harassing Lee Lemon. And Lee and Fry overhear that the real plan with these supposed peace talks is to blow up the entire planet because Bender has had a bomb put in him, and for absolutely no reason, the bomb is triggered by his voice saying I don't know why they didn't just put it on a timer, but it's triggered by his voice saying his most frequently used word. And we get a top 10 list.
A top 10 list.
A la David Letterman.
I mean, Letterman was still big then, you know what I mean, right? He was still
Tony,
working.
are you a Letterman girl? I loved Letterman
I
when I was
more
a kid.
of a Letterman than a Leno. I think Leno's kind of a bitch. Like, I feel like he has more
He's
bitch
kind of a little
vibes.
bitch.
Yeah, like, I feel like, you know, especially, like, the whole Conan situation is just, like, just a kind of a bitch. So, I've always was a Letterman guy, yeah.
I made a mean joke about Jay Leno's face getting burned at the Bruce Campbell roast, and it got ooze. But I thought it was pretty funny.
Sometimes you want ooze. Sometimes ooze are better than laughs. Trust me, I get on West Hollywood all the time.
You know how audiences are at roast. Too sensitive.
I do. The West Hollywood audience. Yeah, they're rough.
Anyway, yeah, he did get his face burned, but he's very rich, so he hasn't. Can we just go down this list of Bender's top 10 words?
Yes, let's do it.
Chump. Chumpette.
Chumpette.
Yours. Up. Pimp mobile. Bite. My. Shiny. And at this point, Lee Lemon is gasping in horror. Metal. And the number one word is ass. So when Bender says ass...
No. Number 2, daffodil.
Oh, daffodil. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Was one.
And number 1, ass.
And it is funny because earlier in the episode he said hot diggity daffodil, which he has never said before or since.
But apparently it's his second most used word. So cut to Bender's in the peace talks, and I love the dialogue for the balls. Stuff. The brain balls, they're like, we tell a story of a ball like you who bounced 3 meters in the air, then 6 meters in the air, then 8.5 meters in the air. Do you understand?
Henry Kissinger says, Mr. Ambassador, our people tell the same story. We demand bouncing and rolling. All of their demands are bouncing and rolling based.
And then Bender's like, these balls are making me testy.
So good.
These balls are making me testy. So fucking funny.
Let's get in our pimp mobile and roll out of here. Because now that we've known the list, we have to get some of these words in there. I love it.
We cut back to the military base. Fry has decided to hijack a helicopter to fly and rescue Bender. So he's like standing behind a gate and he's like, okay, all I have to do is take out those 3 guys, steal the helicopter, and then I'm good to go. And then Lee Lemon does it and he says, hey, I did it. Wait, that wasn't me. And Fry says, Lee, you want to save Bender too? Why? You barely know him. Lee says, Fry, don't you recognize me? And Fry squints and says, Hermes? And for those who don't remember, Hermes is the black heavyset man who works at the office. Probably the least likely person Lee Lemon could be.
Okay. Hermes also had a great moment early in the episode when Fry and Bender have been enlisted in the war. Hermes says, I say, I don't know how long you're going to be gone, so I saved you the trouble and fired you now. And he hands them their pink slips, but then he turns away and goes, because he's really sad to like say goodbye to them.
Also, don't forget that Lee Lemon showered with his hat and glasses on in the shower.
And that only happens in a very specific type of movie.
Yeah.
So, Zap comes and tries to stop Fry and Lee from...
They're holding hands.
He's holding hands.
Very
yeah. And he goes, you
jealous.
two are special friends? I thought we would be close. Or no, he says close friends.
Close friends or
right?
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he can't speak his love.
What does he call him? A significant soldier? like my significant soldier? Is that what he calls him, I think?
So he threatens to arrest them, but Lee Lemon beats the shit out of him. And he falls down. And we get a gay panic joke that is actually funny when Lee Lemon reveals that he is, in fact, Leela from The Office. Do you remember this character, Leela, from earlier in the episode, Tony? Do you remember her?
But, of course I remember Leela. Yeah.
Did you have any suspicions?
But I'll tell you, it had me gooped.
Okay, listen.
It was quite the reveal.
Before Leela does the reveal, I love that Zap falls down on the ground. He's all beaten up. And then we hear Lee's voice from off screen. And Lee says, hey, Zap. And then we cut to Leela still in the fatigues, dressed as Lee Lemon, but posed like a little like Broadway showgirl. Like ready to do the reveal. And I just love that detail that like she's already posed in a super femme pose. And then she pulls off the beard and it's like, you know, female empowerment. And then Zap says, I've never been so relieved to be beat up by a girl.
Let's do it again sometime.
That's right. Yeah,
really good.
We'll do it again sometime. And, you know, just like you were saying, Tony, the misogyny in this episode is all with the misogynist as the butt of the joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's well done satire. Well done satire.
Indeed. And they find out because, you know, ultimately the big old balls leave their own planet.
Right.
And
It's crazy
Fry
ending.
finds out that they're the actual enemy.
And
Yeah.
wasn't that a great twist that I'm sure we all saw coming, you know?
Yeah.
Just because of, you know,
well,
the times.
Once
It's an
Bender
allegory.
learned,
War on terror.
Once Bender learns he has the power to blow up the planet, he threatens the balls until they leave. Apparently all it took was them all to just bounce really high, and they all just floated away.
I guess they bounced to another planet, yeah.
And then when they get back, there's like a celebration waiting for them with a big banner that says "Balls thoroughly licked." Oh, and we forgot the joke.
We've seen too many body bags and ball sacks.
And ball sacks.
Really
and
good.
And there's the joke. It's a G-rated joke, but still a good one. How did you find where they're keeping Bender? I followed the bouncing balls.
Another really great moment that I laughed perhaps the loudest at, because it's not a quote, so I didn't remember it quite as well as everything else in this episode. Just the visual of Fry being pushed out of the airplane and opening up his parachute like 1 second before he hits the ground and just hitting with a thud. I laughed out loud. That was really good.
It's very good. So they're back on Earth. They've won the day, and I can't remember if anything significant happens, but we're about to get to one of my favorite moments in Futurama history.
Are you talking about the professor's line?
The professor's line. So they can't get the bomb out, so they've like reprogrammed the bomb. But when the professor's talking about being unable to get the bomb out, he says, Hermie says, Zoidberg says we were unable to get the bomb out. And then the professor cuts in with, it's stuck in there with glue or something. I don't know. I mean, the professor has so much sci-fi tech and knowledge, but when it comes to like a bomb stuck in there with glue or something, I don't know. I say that all the time. No one ever knows what I'm referencing, but I love it.
And then we get a fun little final beat of Bender trying to figure out which word they reprogrammed the bomb to. And it's supposed to be a word that he never says.
When they tell him that he reprogrammed it, when they tell him that they reprogrammed it, he says, that's using your ass. And I also quote that constantly.
You did text that to me right before the episode.
So he's trying to figure out what his least said word is, and his guesses are pretty good. Like, please, thank you. Is it funderful?
And then he finally guesses antiquing, and we hear a modest-sized explosion, and he says, I'm okay. So I guess this bomb was never actually going to blow up the planet. And the balls gave up their home for no reason.
Yeah, they needed the resources. That's what they wanted. It wasn't because they wanted the resources, but it was exactly what they wanted was the resources.
Also, what resources? This planet
I think that's the funny thing is there's no strategic value to this planet. Like, the military-industrial complex is so amok in the future that they're just invading random planets because they're bored.
The whole commentary on the military was said in the line, some of you will die for your planet. Some of you will be pushed through a fine mesh screen for your planet. And those will be the luckiest of all. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the episode.
Enlist now. Enlist today.
I think we will be going into a very special segment, Tony. It's called The Questioning.
Hey, let me ask you something.
So we have compulsory questions we ask every guest.
Okay.
Are you ready to answer them?
Compulsory questions. Yes, of course.
First question. Which Futurama character, either overall or in this episode, do you relate to the most? Who do you see yourself in the most?
I mean, I really do fancy myself a Bender, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, because I'm also like a Roger on that or on the,
you are
American
100% a Roger.
Yeah. And I lost my shit. But yeah,
whoa, video users, tune in. If you are only listening to the audio feed, you're only getting half the story.
So yeah,
Tony's headphones just leapt off her head. It was really cool.
It was. But so yeah, I like to say what you mean and mean what you say,
Yeah, and you loot corpses.
Yeah.
So next question.
Oh, I would steal from somebody.
Next question. Of the Futurama characters, overall or in this episode, who would you do?
I like my guys stupid, so I would totally do Fry. I would.
Every drag queen wants to fuck Fry. Like, literally everyone.
And every drag queen wants to fuck Nick. And so Nick is Fry. Fry is
Not
Nick.
some of the ones I would like
Rhetoric.
to. Anyway.
Oh, whatever. I know everything there is to know about you, Nick Sahoyah.
I would let the captain push me around, though, too, a little bit.
The captain? Oh, Zap.
Yeah. Yeah, I let Zap push me around a little bit.
Zap is like, we've had a few guests, myself included, who have admitted like either that they would do Zap or that they'd probably end up doing Zap. Because like I dated a Zap for a while before I realized, oh my God, he's a Zap.
Yeah, I used to drink at similar parties where Zaps would drink. So
see, I get the appeal with Zap on the level of like, yeah, I'll just fuck this idiot and not worry about it. But to me, he's proven to be too clingy for that kind of...
And he won't be a good lay. But
no.
You know what? The thing is he'll say all the wrong things, which kind of turns me on sometimes.
Oh, okay. So if anyone wants to slide into Tony's DMs, just say some wrong things.
Yeah, if you've got a dad bod and you're problematic, if you're dad bod-lematic.
If you're not a walking red flag, then I have no interest. Because then we might end up together, and that would be not a good thing.
Tony, there's one more question. Is that what you're going to ask?
There's one more?
Yeah, there's one more.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. We ask everyone. Now that
let me hit the button again, because...
Hey, let me ask you something.
Just because we're asking a third question all of a sudden, I guess I should hit the button again.
All of a sudden... Anyway, you're going to feel so stupid. Tony, now that you have watched
this doesn't count as a question.
I hate you. Now that you've watched this episode of Futurama, will you be watching more Futurama? And do you plan on watching the Futurama reboot coming to Hulu very soon?
I love a good reboot. And since I don't have Netflix, I love Hulu. So, yes. And, yeah, I'll rewatch this. I mean, yeah, I should learn more things. I should, yeah.
I love that your goal is to learn more things, so you're now going to binge a cartoon.
It's a smarter show than me. That's why it's been canceled a few times, because, smart shows can't last because we're a dumb culture.
Yeah, I take back my derision. It's a very smart show, and you can learn from it.
Wide breadth of topics. It seems like it's a very intergenerationally written show. Like it seems like there's a couple young people and a couple old people all writing for this show together.
Yeah. It's like that one show that's about that, but now it's canceled, right? You know what I'm talking about? The writer show with the guy from Mad About You.
Paul Reiser?
And his daughter is a writer, but she's a lesbian, and then they're writing on a show. Reboot. That's what it was called, but it was
Reboot.
She's a writer, but get this. She's a lesbian.
What? Sold.
People will watch it.
It's gold, Jerry. Gold.
Tony, okay. I want to just say you are indeed one of my favorite performers in the world, one of my favorite hosts in LA. You do the very best shows. And at the risk of more people coming up and asking me about this podcast, I would like to encourage people to go to Learn the Words Bitch at Akbar every first Monday.
The first Monday of every month. Yeah,
and Battle Babies at Stash every week.
Every Wednesday at Stash, yeah, 10 o'clock. Can you believe it? I'm out that late. I hate it. Every moment of it.
It's very, and again, I just want to talk about Maxwell a little more because he has a very growing resentment towards you as he gets sleepier and sleepier, and it's been very fun to watch as a fan of you both.
She wears everything on her face when she's not looking down at her phone texting. So
during Learn the Words Bitch, this last one, Maxwell, her face during some of the more interesting performances was really making my night.
She just consumed too much marijuana. But yeah, if you ever want to see whatever I'm doing in drag, you just go to Tony Soto Productions on Instagram, because that's like all the drag stuff. But
go see all of her shows.
If you want to see what I'm doing, it's the Tony Soto Show, and that's Instagram and TikTok, because I'm basically a Zennial.
Is that what they're called? Or is that a new flower?
Well, I was told that it ages me when I say youths. So
the youths.
Yeah.
The youths.
I only ever say that to mimic old people.
I say it unironically.
Well, thank you so much, Tony Soto.
Hey, Mom.
This was fun.
Can I just pitch something for next week? On that third question that you asked, what if I hit this button?
That just raises further questions.
That's pretty funny, right? Like, after you asked two, and then I hit that one.
You're going to feel so stupid, Nick, when you find out that you do a third question every week. You're going to feel dumb. That's what Jinkx said.
I love you, but please don't side with Jinkx. I need you on this one.
I'm
you
literally
don't know
in the
what
middle.
kind of havoc you'll wreak on this fragile ecosystem that is 40% podcast.
I love how mom and son are like, don't get involved, but my placement is literally in the middle of both of them.
Anyway, go follow Tony. Listen to my Degrassi podcast, all about Degrassi. And Jinkx, what do you want people to do?
we're just plugging things then?
Yes. We have to end it, so say your plugs fast.
I also have the podcast Hi Jinkx.
We all have 2 podcasts.
A casual conversational podcast. I also am about to go on tour with Everything at Stake all through North America. So we start in Canada, then we go through America, and we go through the States. Okay, I've been told that people in South America don't like it when I've been told by South American people that they don't like it when we say America as if there's only one America. So I'm trying
makes sense.
to.
There's like at least 4, right?
I'm trying to uncondition referring to the U.S. as America. So anyway, the point being, I'm going through the U.S. and Canada with my tour, and you can get tickets at JinkxMonsoon.com. I love you.
I would like to say real quick, I never even mentioned my podcasts. I do the Tony Soto Show and the Gay Power half hour every week. So tune into those too, anywhere podcasts are streamed.
Now that you've been inundated with our various successes, thank you all for listening to another wonderful episode of I'm 40% Podcast. We'll be back next week. Make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Tell your friends. There's a reboot of Futurama coming, so soon it'll be all anyone's talking about. It really just goes to show that Nick and I were ahead of the curve. Until the next episode, have a futuristic day, everybody!
Wow.